Welcome to our virtual summit. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tyler Wood, and I'm proud to kick off our workshop today called Personalized Instruction with Google Meet. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at eDynamic Learning, and with me today is Kevin Hodges, who is the Central US K-12 Regional Manager for Google. Kevin is a product of the Texas public school system and takes great pride in working with district leadership throughout the state, spreading Google's presence in education, growing user interest, and striving to drive education technology in creative and unique ways. Kevin is a member of the Google for Education team and collaborates frequently with many Google teams, including G Suite teams, YouTube teams, Google Classroom teams, and Google Chromebook teams. He's spent the last 8 years at Google after 10 years with the Apple Education team and helped build the Google for Education team that it is today. Also presenting is Frank Murray, who is the Director of Instructional Technology at Wichita Falls ISD. He has been in K-12 education for the past 20 years and post-secondary education for 7 years. With his master's degree in education technology and 12 years of facilitating teachers on integrating technology, he has seen a lot of changes in the classroom. Being a Google certified trainer, Frank has consulted with many districts around the US on how to integrate G Suite for education and getting district buy-in with new digital initiatives. Many of you provided questions when you registered for the workshop, so after the presentation, we'll provide several questions for Kevin and Frank to answer. Just know that with many of you on the virtual call, you will remain in mute, but feel free to chat in any questions you have, and I'll do our best to make sure that we get those questions answered. If we don't have time to address them all, we'll be sure to follow up and provide you with those answers. Both Kevin and Frank are passionate about this topic, and we're so excited to have them present today. So I will let you both take it from here.
Awesome. So there are Twitter handles right there if you want to take that down, follow us, and we can share some information with you. At the top up here, this bit.ly, you can get to this presentation. It'll be on each slide. If you don't get off the first slide, you can get on to the next slide, but then you'll have a copy of this. And there's some videos in here that you might want on how to create some meets, so that might help you.
Awesome. I'm going to kick us off. Frank, thanks for the quick intro, and Tyler, thank you for having Frank and I today. So I'm just going to focus on 5 quick pillars, and I'm going to pass the rest of the session over to Frank. I want to focus on 5 things because we're going to talk here about Google Meet. First and foremost, Google Meet is a free product. It's built in our G Suite for Education portfolio. Because we are in our COVID situation, we also provide a G Suite Enterprise for Education product, where Google Meet is also a part of that portfolio. It is a paid portfolio, but we are actually providing it as a free service for our K-12 institutions to use up until September 30th, and it's a great opportunity for districts to take advantage of. Currently, in our COVID situation, we are 99.9999% reliable. We have had 0 downtime, except maybe for a sliver of 8 to 10 minutes once we started really rocking and rolling on the virtual learning. We are a secure platform for those of the attendees that are using G Suite for Education right now in your school district. Many of you guys know that Google Meet and Google Hangout are a core service, which means it follows the compliant piece of this. So we are FERPA, we are COPPA, we are GDPR compliant, and most importantly, we have signed the Student Privacy Pledge. So we do take security and privacy very, very seriously. The final attribute here, before I pass it over to Frank, is that we are a seamless integration into your teaching and learning tools. You can use Google Meet on any device. It's a great web product. You can use it on your Android phone, iOS device. Of course, it's built seamlessly for Chrome OS and the web usage for Chromebooks, but it's a integrated tool that we like to use and share for our education communities. So that's my one slide. I'm going to pass the mic over to my man Frank, and he's going to run it from here. So Frank, the floor is yours, man.
All right, so this presentation, or this it's called Personalized Instruction with Google Meet. So I really want to just take time to show you kind of how we've done it in our district. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong, just kind of how we've done it, and kind of open up for questions, but also have some videos in there to show you how to create these. So let's just talk about our elementaries. I've got some pictures in there, but of course, we're using it for distance learning. And the other thing is morning announcements. I mean, we have our elementaries are getting on a Google Meet every morning, saying the pledge, saying what's going on, to give those students a little bit of what they go through at school every day. And of course, we've had field trips. This is to the San Antonio Zoo right here. I'll put my pointer on so you can see. This is to Riverbend Nature Center here in Wichita Falls that they were supposed to go on a field trip to, so they just did it virtually. Of course, show and tell. There's Cinco de Mayo in the class right there. Scavenger hunts around the classroom. A lot of our choice boards were done that way as well. Just find this around your house, or find things that are rough, or find things that are shiny, find things that are smooth. Still celebrating all the students' birthdays, so they still get that celebration. Of course, science experiments, and then game nights, like getting on and let's play a game together. So whether it be a board game, whether that be any other type game. So then in our secondary schools, we've of course distance learning, and then this, I talked about this morning, but it's open mic night. So they had open mic night for all their students. Right here is a picture of, actually, I don't know if I put it on there, but open mic night. They played bingo. They went ahead and had their virtual career fair that they have every year at school. They have a career fair, so they went ahead and did that virtually. And this is something that's pretty cool. The counselors put together the counselor connection, which is called Quarantines. And that was a place for the counselors and students to get together every day. They would kind of schedule a time to just talk about things that are going on, and questions they had about the COVID, and questions they had about the community. A lot of our campuses do club time, whether that be dance club, Spanish club, maker club. So they still have their club times. And then right there's open mic night. Again, I put that in twice. I didn't see that. One other thing we've done with our secondary is, and with elementaries as well, is our end of year award ceremonies. So when we're still handing out those certificates where the kids used to walk across the stage and get it, we still have that. We also had, which I'll get to in a second, what we did with our extracurricular activities, but still had those end of year award ceremonies and building videos to play and different things like that. They've also done their class officer elections through Google Meet and through Google Forms. So when our 8th graders are going into high school, they still did a virtual building tour, so the kids could get on there and come see the high school and see the rooms they're supposed to go to and some of the places they were going to be. And then for staff and parents was faculty meetings. We were still held on time every time. PLCs were on Wednesdays, or still are on Wednesdays. We've done interviews over this, so we still have to hire people. We've actually hired over 100 people in Wichita Falls ISD through this, us being school online or school at home. We've hired 100 new teachers. This is kind of funny. They just with staff. They did episodes of staff cribs, so they would all get on and kind of show their house off, and which is pretty funny. And then some have taken to staff workouts. They're still holding Zumba and Pilates and all that stuff. And then a powerful one is parent chats. So we want to make sure we're transparent with the community and with parents. So it was a time for them to be able to get online and ask questions to those principals about what's going on. With our extracurricular activities, we did drum major tryouts. Again, officer elections, speeches, voted on Google Form. 2020 marching show reveal. So what they did is they got all the kids on a Google Meet and then showed what in the fall, hopefully they get to do, but their marching show reveal. And of course, parent meetings, section meetings, end of year banquet. Athletics do team meetings. They were supposed to be in spring football right now, so they were still having that spring football time, but over Google Meets. Position group meetings, and then JROTC did their Cadet of the Year banquet and leadership boards. And I'm going to click on this real fast. This is kind of neat. So this is one of our high school bands, and what they did is they got on a Google Meet and kind of planned this out. Like we want to do our fight song virtually. Oh, is that going to go? Yeah, there it goes. Let me play this real fast. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but I'll just show it to you real fast. Not all of it, just some of it. So that's pretty cool. So they did their virtual fight song, but that was all put together through their many Google Meets to try to figure out and place them in different positions. And then here's our school at home. I kind of want to show you this kind of our schedule of how we were using this. And this right here will take you to our school at home site. And I'm just going to show you on the, we'll do middle school or high school. I'll just go and click on high school and kind of show you. So this is basically our school at home schedule. So on Mondays, every fourth period teacher is connecting with their fourth period students to see, do you have enough food to eat? Do you have questions? Do you have questions about your work? How's your home life going? How are your parents doing? Are they out of work? Are they working? Different things like that. So that all happened on Mondays and Fridays. And on Tuesdays is when you had their office hours. So periods 1 through 4, and I'll show you what that looks like. We did that on Tuesday. We do 5th through 8th on Thursday. And then Wednesdays is all the special programs when you're contacting. This is also the day that all of our PLCs are happening. So daily schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, looks like this. But when we're meeting with our teachers, here is your virtual classroom schedules. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 o'clock, you are in your first period, and on Thursday, you're in your fifth period. So this kind of gave the students time, when do I need to meet with my teacher, or when can I meet with my teacher when they need help with my assignments, okay? So that's a good resource for you to have right there. So we talked about school, so how are we using an admin? So we're doing virtual workshops now. We're talking about how we're going to do our PD virtually throughout the summer. I know we are through June. It's already set up that we're doing virtual, but we're holding workshops now as well. And a good way to do that is one main Google Meet where everyone meets, and then we're assigning multiple Google Meets like tables for them to go and do their work, and they come back to one Google Meet to present. And that's here's a screenshot of that right here. And then principal meetings, all the end of year planning, and we've set up meetings every week for all administrators to ask questions with a superintendent on there, assistant sup on there, director of administration, technology, all these different people where they can get in and ask questions for end of year planning. And then which were our office hours as well. And then we're also running all of our board meetings through Google Meet, which has been pretty neat. So nothing's stopped here. Everything is continued on, and getting the board members on Google Meet kind of excites them too of how they're handling all the board meetings. Now this one kind of took me for surprise. We've actually been doing all of our special ed meetings, our ARDs, are doing ARDs through Google Meet. And when a parent agrees to do this, they get this template back to them. It shows them the date and the time, and shows them their meeting code, if they're meeting online, and shows them kind of the meeting code to join. Now, the thing that's coming around is I've actually put a quote down here that says, I am hoping as we continue teaching parents how to use Google Meets for ours, they will prefer this method. This would save parents who have other commitments from having to take off work and find babysitters to attend. Google Meets has saved a lot of time for school personnel who have to usually travel from school to school. And that's kind of big. This COVID has actually made teachers kind of see that things can be done a different way. And especially our special ed department, which they're traveling from school to school to school to do these ARDs, and our principals and assistant principals are having to get out of meetings and go to ARDs. So this is something what they want to continue doing after this. Now I put this slide in here, and I don't really want to go in and show you. I know we only had 30 minutes, so I wanted to open up for some questions. But this shows you the 3 ways, and this is what we've sent out to our teachers, so they all have it as well. But the 3 ways to set up a Google Meet. So here's a video that shows you how to set it up in Calendar and what that does. Here is a way to create it in Google Meet using a nickname and what that gives you. And then this is how to do it in Classroom, which was released, Kevin, 3 weeks ago. Is that right?
3 weeks. Yep,
3 weeks ago, which now Google Meet is tied into Google Classroom. So this shows you how to create that in Google Classroom. And all you have to do is click on the badge, and it's going to show you exactly how to do that. So there's all 3 ways to do that. Do we have questions? And if not, I can go deeper dive into that, but I wanted to leave it for questions of kind of what specific questions you had about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, just a quick question for you. I think would be good for the attendees here. Would you mind just sharing? You guys have about 14,000 students. You know, how many meets have you guys done? How many participants have you guys had?
I think we're over
Yes,
86,000 Google Meets now, I think is what we're over.
Okay. I thought it was something
So
like that.
I was just so blown away with the creativity and the way that you've handled the COVID situation to be able to do all those really engaging things with parents and kids. I mean, I love that list of all the different things. I think that's going to be really helpful for people to kind of wrap their brain around. And also meetings, like you said, you know, where parents have to take off work and go and meet with staff. Now they can hopefully do this in the future. So I really love that. You did get some really good questions, and I think I hear this a lot. What is the difference between Google Meet, Google Hangouts, and Google Duo? Is one the preferred platform for student group meetings?
I'm gonna let Kevin take some of this,
Yeah.
but Google Meet allows you to have more control over your students getting in meetings and not getting in meetings. Meaning, we don't want students on Google Meet all day if it doesn't have to do with education, right? So that kind of gives some control. So I'll let Kevin take that so he can kind of explain the three platforms and kind of where it went from Hangouts to Meet.
Yeah, and I think Google Duos, it's a great question. It's a request that we haven't heard much of at this point. I can't get into the logistical side of the discussions that are happening with the Duo team, other than there may be a play. Frank, I think you hit it on the Meet side. You know, one of the things to think about here with Google Meet is that, you know, during a Meet, you can have up to 250 participants all together at once. Kind of that, I've heard the phrase that Brady Brunch kind of look and feel. You can do the same thing in Google Meet, and you can have up to 250,000 live streamers or people streaming into that Meet. And in Hangouts, it's kind of an old version of Meet. It's I wouldn't get too hung up on Hangouts at this time. There's a lot of rationale as to why. I think we should more stay focused on Meet. In Duo, we're just trying to find that EDU niche at this point.
So I'll just say how we use Hangouts. So I use Hangouts because I build groups in there. And if I need to send a group text or chat out to that group, that's how I use Hangouts. And sometimes we'll jump in because I can just click on that group in Hangouts and click video, and I'm in with those teachers, right? So that's more for the teacher side. To me, is how I kind of see Hangouts working. Now on the Meet side, it gives you control. And what I mean by that is this: if I create a Google Meet in a calendar, that means non-domain accounts can join. That means anyone in the world can join that with me allowing them, because I'm on the EDU side. Meaning I have to admit them in if they're outside my domain, but they can get there. So if I need to have meetings with parents, I have to create it through calendar. I need to create it during calendar. I need to. Okay. I don't have to, but it's just an easier way. So when I use a nickname, that means if I go to meet.google.com and type in Frank's meeting, okay, what that allows me to do is it keeps students from being in when you leave. So what it means is if you make sure all students are out of that Google Meet and then you hang up as a teacher, they can't jump back in that meeting, right? And then the other thing is, and this can only be used within the domain. So if I use a nickname, anybody outside my domain, if I need a parent to join, they can't join it. And then, of course, in Classroom, it's kind of the same way. I can turn the meeting on and off, but as long as I make sure I'm the last one out, my students can't jump back in that meeting. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful, because I think a lot of people are worried about people joining in and saying inappropriate things. So it sounds like that's mitigated with that whole solution.
Yeah, Taylor, let me add to that too, Frank, is that there is now a mute and remove participants in Google Meet. And it's almost like that knock too, right? If somebody wants to join, you know, the participant, whether it's the person that facilitated that invite with Meet, can actually now allow that person to participate. So, you know, I use Zoom bombing and other things like that. So we're trying to get in front of that now from an education side with this product in particular. So those two tools are relatively new, as in the last few weeks.
Another question: can students join without showing their face? I'm sure this is a question with parents sometimes.
Yes, they can just keep their camera off. It shows the name of who's in that meeting, so you know who's in it, and they just don't turn their camera on.
That's correct.
And actually, when you get into the meeting, you can turn your mic off and your camera off before you ever get in, when you're kind of in the waiting room.
Okay, this question is Google planning on adding breakout rooms to any of their platforms?
Oh, wow. Now you guys are going to put me on the spot. I can't give a yes or no answer because of you know, NDA reasons. However, I can tell you that that is a very important and our most requested feature, and there may be some good things on the horizon, Tyler. I'll just leave it at that.
And that's why we have kind of set it up with, like, we set up multiple rooms for them to go into. But yeah, it'd be great to be able to split them out and bring them back in together.
Correct.
So.
Is it possible to send a template or a sample on the SPED IEP meeting with Google Meet sheet for parents?
Say that one more time now.
Is it possible to send a template or a sample of the SPED IEP meeting with Google Meet sheet for parents to, so that I can share with my SPED as a role model of what they could develop?
Oh, I got you. Yeah, just, it's in this presentation. You can have, I mean, this presentation's yours, so just make a copy of that. And then, like I said, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'll actually add our email accounts to this last page too. So if you'll bookmark this bit.ly/PI Google Meet, then you can get in contact with us, and I can send you the exact thing that we're using, of course.
One teacher says, can the students mute you if you're presenting as the teacher?
They could at first, not anymore. So yeah, when Google got that, and that's why I said earlier, I said Google has amazed me with all the Googlers working from home and still being able to make these changes. But yeah, only the person that creates a meeting can actually mute and kick people out.
Okay.
And Tyler, I know we got questions coming in, but there's just one caveat to this, is that, like I said earlier, Meet has been an enterprise product for us for a long period of time. Now that we're starting to realize that this virtual, you know, teaching and learning could be happening for a while, we're starting to bring a lot of the EDU specific features to the forefront. So the roadmap for this is it's very clean, it's very nice, so it'll be good.
That's exciting. Okay, can you do a video of your Meet for students who are unable to do it with the Google in live?
As of right now, yes, because Google's giving away the enterprise version of Google Meet. You can record your whole meeting, and then you can post it where you want. Now, when you record it and you stop recording, it actually sends you an email when it's done, and it places it in a folder that it creates in your Google Drive called Google Meetings. Is that right, Kevin? Google,
that is correct.
Google Meetings. It will hold everything that you record in your Google Meets will go there.
Okay. Are the students assigned a Gmail school account that is required to be able to use Google Meet?
So it's a Google account. So we don't give email for K through 6. Do not have email, but they have a Google account. That Google account allows you to create or to join meets. So we do that on the admin side. It's all in admin settings. Like if I wanted my seniors to create meets, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Kevin, I just want to make sure on the OUs, but I'm almost positive it is. And I can have them create, but not have the other OUs create.
Correct.
So you turn on control where they can join or not join Google Meets. Yes, it's all done in the admin console.
And Frank, you're right. And Tyler, again, G Suite for Education is a free product. We're not charging districts to use the tools.
Great. Well, that might answer this one, because it says, if a district wants to implement and try Google with Chromebooks and resources, can that be done?
Yes.
Sounds like you're saying right there. Okay,
Correct.
Let's see if there's any more. Lots of questions. Wow. How do we reach you to ask questions after we play around with Google Meet?
You hit us up on Twitter or email. I'll add our emails on this account right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you don't want to get inundated, you can always send it to hello@edynamiclearning.com, and we will funnel all these questions to these gentlemen so they can get back to you with these questions. I think we have time for one more. Oh, they want to know how you made that really cool Brady Bunch, like with all the pictures.
So that's actually a part of Meet now that Google added a week and how long ago? Wasn't that long ago, but they just added that. But we were using Grid View for Meets before that, which was a extension. But go ahead, Kevin, you can explain that.
Correct. Grid View was an extension up until the end of April, and it's still an extension today, but we incorporated that entire Grid View look and feel into Meet. So as I was saying earlier, you can have up to 250 participants in that Meet under that Grid View look and feel.
Okay. Real quick, here's one. She says, when I share my screen, they can see me, but they can't hear me in audio. Is that something easy she can fix?
When she shares her screen, they can see her but not hear her.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't be happening. If it is, it could be in the settings, which is the gear in Google Meet, and then audio settings.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thanks you guys so much for being part of the summit. I know you guys are inundated with questions considering COVID, but I think you gave some great examples. So thank you so much. Just wanted to let everyone know that has participated that you will be receiving a certificate of participation. I know a lot of schools are giving their staff a PD certificate for this, so that will be sent out. And we'll also send a survey. So if you have additional questions that you want to give to Frank and Kevin, we'll be sure to loop those back in and get those to them. So thanks again. Also, if you want to attend any additional summits, sessions, we have so many going on today and tomorrow. Simply go to tinyurl.com/EDL Summit and you'll find it. Or you can go to our homepage on eDynamicLearning.com. Our summit is still on the homepage. You can go in there and check any other sessions that we have. So thanks again for joining us. And thanks again, Kevin and Frank. Really great.
Thank you,
Have a
Tyler.
great day.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.